great chefs use to scramble their eggs. What's wrong with forks? It bruises the eggs. Next, you're going to be worried about hurting your feelings.
I should have put steak in these. Hey mom, hey Josh, hey everyone else. Welcome back to the vlog. I don't know if we follow the same people on social media, but if you are in the know, you know that Great British Baking Show starts back this week. And even more than Gilmore Girls, even more than watching You've Got Mail or When Harry Met Sally, Great British Baking Show just kind of really just starts the fall into the holiday season, which is crazy that we are already like September 2024. We say this every fall. I know you do too. Where the heck did the year go? But there's such like a soft little cushion that we all get to fall on when we have that reality. And it's almost always just a fresh baked loaf of bread by Paul Hollywood, or just a stunning outfit by Prue Leaf. And you know, a good couple of jokes from Noel will always soften that blow as well. So to really get us in even more of a fall spirit, a bake-off spirit, we're gonna bake. And I'm gonna show you guys 3 very, very simple recipes today. I am like the textbook definition of an amateur baker. I have never even attempted to bake a cake. I have not made a pie, aquafaba, or gluten-free, or anything like that. Literally no shot. A goal of mine is to bake through one of the seasons. It will probably be Sophie and Steven and Kate's season, just because that's the best one. Don't come for me. Until then, I just wanted to show you guys a couple almost foolproof recipes that I post about on my Instagram all the time. The first one I'm gonna make is apple butter. Now, I started making apple butter when I lived in Michigan for obvious reasons, because you go to a cider mill what feels like every weekend in Michigan. And by every weekend, it's only about 2 weekends of the year, because that's how short fall is, because it immediately gets cold. Not mad about, I actually miss it dearly. I'm wearing this sweater and it's 102 outside, so. Number 2, I'm gonna make some bread. Now, I showed you guys the recipe in the last video, but I didn't show you how to make it, and like, I am very much, even on Pinterest and stuff, I will watch a video before I just read through a recipe. That might be very Gen Z of me, but I love being able to look at, okay, that sourdough is bubbling that way, the cookies look like this, you know, it's just, I'm visual. So I'm gonna show you that process. And number 3 is a staple in the Mead household, and not just my household, but the household of both of my sister-in-laws, I think, have some of this dough in the freezer. But it is a bourbon snickerdoodle cookie recipe, and it is so good. You can make it, then freeze it, and then it's just in your freezer for whenever you want a sweet treat. And I had some in there that I, just full transparency, don't know when I made, and then I made them the other day and they were delicious. So in my amateur bake-off brain, they don't go bad. But do not quote me on that. I apologize if you ever get sick. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start with the apple butter, because that one just has to sit in the crock pot for hours. So we'll start there. First thing you gotta do is assemble your ingredients. So we used 5 pounds of apples, you can really use any kind, a cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and 2 dashes of salt. Throw the apples in the sink to give them a good rinse and make sure you get off all the stickers. The instructions said to peel, core, and slice my apples. I have no idea where my apple peeler went, so we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Now comes the easy part. Throw all of your apples into the crock pot, cover it, and stir it up with all of the seasonings, and then plug it in, turn it on high for 5 hours or low from 8 to 10. While I'm already doing some voiceover work, why don't you just watch the first part of me making the bread as well? Oh my gosh, it's me again with another ingredient haul. You're gonna do 3 cups of bread flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of active yeast, and then about 1.5 cups of water. Bread can seem really intimidating if you've never made it, but I promise as soon as you get a recipe down, it's so much fun. And with this one, kind of like the apple butter, you just throw everything into a bowl and mix it all up. Obviously, you can see that I'm adding a little bit more water. I only am doing that because there was a little bit of flour left in the bottom of the bowl, so you want everything to be pretty combined and also kind of sticky. This recipe calls for a 2 to 3 hour proof, so throw a towel over it, put it somewhere warm and dry, and let that thing rise. So as you saw, the bread is currently proving in the oven. Now, I only prove it in the oven for 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I know that sounds really specific, but I take it out, check it. If it needs longer, throw it back in. But if it looks good, then I'll preheat the oven, and it takes about 20 minutes to get up to 445. Now 445 is only because of that there oven. In Michigan, I think it was only 420 at our first apartment, and then at our house it was like 460. So it depends on the time of year, it depends on your oven, it's again trial and error. So right now in this current day and age, it's 445.
2 hours later.
Oh, it smells like bread. Oh, stunning. Stunning! I'm not gonna tip, well I can kind of tip it. See how it like doubled in size? Ooh, it's got a little jiggle to it. Stunning. I'm gonna preheat the oven because this is ready to bake.
Moments later.
Not the smell, not the look, the sound, the crust. Listen. Oh, a symphony of crackle. Only great bread sound this way.
I let the bread cool, and it smells, holy crap, it smells so good. I cannot wait to eat this with apple butter. It doesn't change in size a whole lot once you're baking it, but yeah, it's 30 minutes with the lid on, 12 minutes with the lid off. Again, with the trial and error moment, which hopefully you guys are not getting tired of. Just trial and error with what kind of color you are liking. I obviously did not use any parchment paper in that pan, mainly because it's non-stick, but I also thought that anytime I used parchment paper, it would burn. Like the bottom would burn a lot easier. So we don't want a burn bottom, and just like in baking show, we don't want any soggy bottoms. Amen? Anyway, so has some crunch on the top, and I'm gonna eat it with some apple butter today, probably some sandwiches this weekend. Yeah, definitely serving up a slice of this during the first episode on Friday. And now I have flour just all over my hands. Classic. The apple butter still has a couple of hours, which we are learning patience in the kitchen. But I think I'm gonna start on the cookies because those have to sit in the fridge for a little bit. So let's start on the bourbon snickerdoodles. Let's go. So for the cookies, you're gonna start with 1 cup of unsalted butter, and you're gonna brown it in a saucepan on your stove, and then allow that to come to room temperature. And while that is coming to room temperature, you're gonna get the rest of your ingredients, where you need about 1.25 cups of brown sugar, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 egg and its yolk, 2 tablespoons of bourbon, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2.5 cups all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar or baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 2.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Alright, now that your butter is at room temperature, you're going to stir that in with the brown sugar and 1/2 cup of white sugar. Then you'll add in the egg, the yolk, the bourbon, and the vanilla, and stir all of those up. Then get all of your dry ingredients and add those in, and then stir until they're just combined. This part's my favorite because I get to use my cookie scooper that I got for Christmas, and yes, I am proud of my cookie scooper. I just keep scooping until there's no dough left, and then this is when you put them in the fridge to hang out for a little bit. And just like in Bake Off, you guys get to see the mess. Even the flour on the floor. But unlike Bake Off, there's not a production team that is going to come and clean all this up for me. So, love it! Okay, so the cookies are now hanging out in the fridge. The recipe that I follow says anywhere from like 2 to 6 hours. Normally, I would just let them freeze overnight in the freezer, but I'm hoping to bake some tonight. So they're just chilling in the fridge. But the apple butter just finished, so it's time for that next step. So in full transparency, I was filming something else right before the apple butter was done, so that is why I have a different outfit on. So that's really exciting. But basically, you just scoop the apples into a blender, blend it all up to your desired consistency. You can add some apple cider or even some water if you want it a little bit more runny. And yeah, you just blend it up, throw it in a jar, and put it in your fridge. Really, really simple.
A few minutes later.
Oh, they're always so cute. Okay, here we go. Don't burn yourself, Tess. Look at how cute. See how they keep their shape? I love it. So, I think that's gonna call it a day, and a successful one at that. I literally have 4 jars of apple butter, a loaf of bread for the next week, and I have cookies for when Josh gets home. And I showed you guys how to do it along the way. Or at least I tried. And Great British Baking Show starts this week. Just so happy. But yeah, that's it. I don't know what subscriber I'm shouting out, but if you've recently subscribed, I love you. That's it. I'll see you in the next one.